Hi everyone, this is Avery C. Prime. This is my first YouTube review, and what I'm gonna review today is just an airbrush. This model is the G233 from Master Airbrush, and this brush is great for beginners. So this is a dual action, and as you can see, it comes with multiple needles. So when you buy it, make sure you look at the size of the needles. Let me get everything out for you. So let's see, this airbrush comes with multiple needle sizes. The biggest one being 0.5 and the smallest one being 0.2. So it seems that 0.3 is installed, but unfortunately you don't get a container like this to needles. So that's something to keep track of when you first open the airbrush, that the needle that is installed is a 0.3. So what a dual action airbrush is simple to use. What you do when you first use it is, you fill it up with paint. You open the cup over here, and what I recommend using is, I'll say, start out with acrylic paints. I'll recommend the brand Tamiya. And once you thin it down, so you put the paint in there. So the trigger, when you push down on the trigger, paint shouldn't come, it should just be air. So when you push down and pull back on the trigger, that's how much paint will come out. So the further you push the trigger back, you will get more paint. So always start out slow. And what I recommend is, when you're first using an airbrush, start on large pieces. This is a diorama I'm working on right now, so this will be a perfect opportunity to start out airbrushing. So always start out from a distance. Let's say I wanted to airbrush this piece. I will say stay at least 6 inches away from your subject. So I will push down and then pull back slowly. So remember, always push down and pull back slowly. And I'll say the pressure, let's say you have an air compressor, which I won't go over it on this video, maybe another video. So I'll say start with 35 psi, something low where you can control the paint. So to take the airbrush apart, and let's say you wanted to change the needle to the 0.5, so you always gotta make sure that you change the tip 2 on the airbrush. And this is what you gotta do. You gotta remove this part here first. And what I recommend is taking out the needle first. So take this part out first, and then this one second. And here's a manual too that it shows you all the parts of the airbrush. So the needle cap, the nozzle. So this part here is what keeps the needle tight, so that way once you install it, it doesn't move around. So let's loosen this up and pull the needle back, and be careful because you don't want to damage the needle. So as you can see, let's see if I can try to focus. See the needle? You don't want to have a bent needle. That means the needle is bent, so be careful on that. So you remove this cap too. And this is the nozzle. Let's say you wanted to change needle sizes. So you gotta remove all these parts and the nozzle, which are here. Let's say you wanted to switch to the 0.5. You gotta remember to first switch the nozzle and then the nozzle cap. So let me just put everything back together. What I like to do, I like to put the nozzle first and then the nozzle cap. And then this the final cap too. And unfortunately with my master airbrush, sometimes the cap doesn't tighten all the way, as you can see with mine. So you may need to use another remedy. Some recommend using like beeswax so it can stay there and doesn't leak. I don't know if my unit is defective, but what I try to do, I try to tighten it where it doesn't move like that. And then to insert the needle again, you just gotta be careful not to bend the needle. So push down on the trigger. And you want to push it all the way forward until you can feel the needle not moving forward anymore. And that way you do that to prevent paint leaks and air leaks. So that means that the needle should be in the right spot. So then you want to tighten the needle up. You can pull back on the trigger just lightly, make sure that the needle doesn't move. So that means it's installed perfectly. And then put this part back in there. There you go. So this is basically an intro to airbrushing, and this hopefully you learn how to take a dual action airbrush apart and know how easy it is to use one. And like I said before, I recommend starting out with acrylic paints and start out with large surface areas. They could be small parts. Let's say you're painting a Gundam kit. So if a large part is red, focus on that. Start painting large surfaces areas where it's only one color. That way you can get used to controlling the airbrush, and you learn how to paint better too and have more confidence. And from there you can use other brands of airbrushing. So let me just put the airbrush back in its package. So like I said, this comes with multiple needles, and I recommend that it averages around $20 to $30. You can get one on Amazon. That's where I got mine. This wrench here is to tighten the nozzle. So when you change needle sizes, just be careful to not tighten the nozzle so hard because you can break it. Actually, I've had that happen to me when I started airbrushing, so always be careful. So let me know if you have any questions, and sorry if my video is kind of bad. It's my first YouTube video. I'm just doing it to help out everybody, and I know when you're trying to get into airbrushing, it's kind of hard, especially you don't know which airbrush to get. And this is an airbrush and a brand that I highly recommend. So it's a master airbrush. It's a G233 set. So let me know if you have any questions, and thank you for watching.